Losing the person I loved the most was one of the hardest things I've ever had to face.
And because I was away from home, it made it much more difficult.
That is when I saw how important it is to have a friend.
A friend to ease the burden.
A friend to take care of things when you can't.
A friend to help you get home.
In 2001, Zimbabwe's Sawira Mukuru was born. Humble beginnings though they were, and armed with nothing but a vision, Philip Mataranyika, Nyaradzo Group CEO, saw a need in Zimbabwe society. A need that needed a strong hand to fulfill it. A vision to provide the best possible service to its clientele in order to meet the demand for efficient, client-based funeral services in Zimbabwe. Investing in infrastructure, machinery, vehicles, staff training. Armed with the CEO's vision and mission to be the preferred provider of insurance risk and event management solutions. Through listening to and understanding the needs of our stakeholders with due care for the environment, we grew and grew. We crossed the Limpopo into South Africa. Over the Mediterranean and British Tunnel. And we continued to grow. Through the good times and the bad. Whether in the city or in the village, or diaspora. All we had and all we have is each other. 20 years of service.
Thank you.
Thank you.
20 years of gratefulness.
Thank you.
20 years of thanksgiving.
Thank you.
20 years of memories.
Thank you.
20 years of hope.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hope for an even greater future.
Thank you. Thank you.
The Nyaradzo Group of Companies would like to thank all our clients for working side by side with us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
From all of us here at Nyaradzo, the past 20 years wouldn't have been possible without you. Thank you.
Today is a special day for the Nyaradzo Group as we celebrate 20 years since our founding with humility and gratitude. I would like to take this opportunity to thank all stakeholders, our board of directors, management and staff, as well as our customers who have supported us through this journey. It's been an exciting journey, and I'd like to thank you all for all the support and the hard work.
Hello and welcome to In Touch with a Legend, brought to you by Nyaradza Group. And in case you're wondering who's this new face, my name is Yvonne Mangunda, standing in for the host of the show, who also happens to be my guest for today because he is a legend. I don't know you know him as a legend from which team because he played for different teams, but I know him as a legend from Caps, a Warriors legend. But we'll hear about his story on the show. Hello and welcome to you. Do I say welcome to your show or welcome to the show?
Either way will do. But I'm happy to be here. Thank you very much, Yvonne. I'm actually enjoying the comfort of this seat because I'm used to that one. I didn't know it was this comfortable, so it's good to be here.
So for today, we'll be hearing the story of Alois Bunjira, where he started, the journey that he went through. And Alois, when you talk about a journey, we always want to start from the very first instance when you were born. What were your names?
I was born Alois Bunjira in Wonder Valley, but unfortunately, my parents, I'll say unfortunately because I love the name, I love my Shona name. Unfortunately, my parents didn't put that name on the birth certificate, the Kumbirai name. I think they did it with all my brothers. I was born in a family of 6. I was number 5 boys, 1 girl. And my sister, my late sister, was actually the last born, and I was the last boy. So all of us, we have got our Shona names, but they never put them on the birth certificate. But I'm Kumbirai. I'm Alois Kumbirai Bunjira. That's how I was born. I was born in Wonder Valley, like I said, and I later moved on to Zengeza when I was 3 years old because of the Liberation War. You know, it's like a wrong no. My parents let's move because my father had acquired a house, a council house in Zengeza. I think they got it in 1976, but this was takambogara baby saka taimbogara kumusha. Then after one day peace my father died. My family should come. So all of us, we moved to Zengeza in 1979. I think that's where we actually, the whole family, finally moved to Zengeza.
And you're going to hear throughout the show me referring to him as Budi because we come from the same rural area. Alois talks about coming from Honde Valley. I come from Watsomba.
Yeah, very close. Very close. In fact, I was there recently. You know, I was in Watsomba recently, and I was like, just so yeah, it's quite close. It's less than 50 kilometers from Watsomba to Honde Valley.
But what's your attachment? Okay, I know everybody has a rural home, but you seem to be one of those people that tweet a lot about Honde Valley. I've even seen you post pictures of the vision that you have because it's such a beautiful place.
Yeah, I think the picture that you saw this outstanding stadium, the modern stadium that I've got a dream of. I've got a dream that one day we're gonna have a stadium like that. You know, I'm a football person, so for me, the first dream that comes to mind is about football. So I dream about one day having a top of the notch, a world-class stadium in Wonder Valley where Dynamos can come and play against Wonder Valley Bullets, or they can come and play Hauna Sweepers, you know, at the stadium. And sometimes we can actually, I dream maybe one day we can actually host international teams for camps. You know, it's a beautiful place, honestly speaking. It's a beautiful place, you know, high altitude as well. It's a very desirable place for pre-season camping. Teams can actually come there for pre-season. So I think there is a place for a top of the range camping facility in Wonder Valley. If there's any investor that he has got this kind of thinking that there is a place there where they can actually be a very good camping facility there. So I dream about it. It's a beautiful place.
I feel the passion for Honde Valley.
Yeah.
But you then move from Honde Valley, you come to Chitungwiza. How did the sporting journey start? How did the football journey start?
You know, I can't pinpoint exactly when I started playing football, but it was in the street. Of course, I think I should have been around 4 or 5, you know, because I know that I started playing organized football when I was 6 years old. So it should have started when I was 3, 4, playing in the street, because that was our playground. You know, it was the dusty street of Dovi Street. You know, that was where we used to title Zingwa Mumba kana Take Street. So kuti kana uzwara tongobuda tokwatongoedza vanhu vanenge vatsvaira mumba and everything. So vana unotonzi budai panze. Ina munotamba kana because tansata kuenda kuchikoro anyway. Saka taito ngobuda totamba panze. So the only form of entertainment that we had was playing football. So we used to make those plastic balls from plastic mkaka. Though I find it they were nice and soft. I got this kite as well. We used to play to play kite, a lot. So we played those balls a lot until maybe I was about 6 years old, when this guy, we used to stay very close to the area board, Sengeza area board. There's a guy called Oscar Mreo. I don't know if it was his surname, I don't know kuti Mreo changa chiri chibaba muti Oscar Mreo, but I don't think it was his surname. So he used to work there. So he started this thing. He loved football. Saka akangotanga aita kana achibva kumba kwake aipfura nemuraini medu achienda paboard paaisense. Saka he always used to see us play football. So I think that's what triggered something in him. Then he just said, "Afana, uyai kuno kunafana uye kuseru uye kuno kuti tambe bhora ndobva aenda nesu taipati paguruwa paground." So he used to make us play against each other. I think that's when his idea of forming a club started. So by the time I was six years old, I know that I wasn't going to school by then. I was just before I went to school, and he formed the team, Black Wolves under 8. So I was good, and he just put me into the team together. I played with older players, though. My twin brothers played, and there was also Wellington Shangiwa. He was the same age with my brothers. So that formed part of the Black Wolves under 8 when it formed, because there was also a guy called Sylvester in Zengeza 1. He had formed Black Wolves. That team was actually formed by Sylvester, but because Oscar was there, he said, Black Wolves anga in one age group chete, like I think it was an under 14. Tova Oscar uya ne swapana avati ndimima under 8. Black Wolves nima under 10. That's how they combined to form Black Wolves under 8, 10, 12, and 14.
And you think kids nowadays are missing out a lot? Because I know my love for football started Israel Street. I never played, but this time my cheerleaders, Highfield, we would be cheerleading for the boys. And now you find that's not there because one, there's technology. Two, also my open spaces.
Yeah, I think it's very unfortunate for the young kids, and if you look at it in terms of football, because our skills we were not taught. It was self-taught. We taught ourselves. Even the passion started from the street. We started playing. That's when we discovered that, even in street game because sometimes metamba borere kusarudzana rere munenge muri ngori message bunch saka munonzi wanhu saka unenge uchitosarudzana munotanga kusarudzana saka so the good players tozivana kuti ndinganogona. Sometimes we got to a stage yekuti tata kutoziva kuti these two or these three are so good they cannot be in the same team. Saka taitombopasandirana tese kuti aiwa uyu kana kuti ndimunofha masarudza vanogona vacho ndimunofha masarudzai, because vanotozizira vega kuti this one is good. So we started doing that on our own until Oscar Mrewa brought. So it's not there anymore. Masvano kuti vapana vakuita zvemafoni. You find kuti mwana kuprimary chaiko kanenge katone phone kakutogona kutoscrolla unotokana kamwana kachitorova technology kachitokuisira cartoon yepa internet, but we didn't have that. Our only form of entertainment was coming outside, like you were saying with my cheerleaders, because my buddha mchitotamba dunhu renyu mchita, but sometimes what happens now, ground ringa rakakava the whole area mutotambira dunhu, so you can just stand by the sidelines. You have to watch the guys play. After the guys play, then you can also tamba fishing ne arahuru zenyu afterwards. But otherwise, that's what was happening. That was our form of entertainment, which is not there. Like my grounds as well. Lucky enough, the ground at the time, but the other parts, Zengeza 3 and all that, my grounds are at all. And I actually wonder where exactly are these kids playing? Because schools lock their schools.
And you talk about that, the fact that Murewa was doing this. But were you at that age, I'm assuming you're getting into grade 1, grade 2, were you also playing at school? And which school did you actually go to at primary school?
After that, I went to Zengeza 7 primary school. It was just close by, next to the area board I was talking about. So the school was just there because they told me so I just went there. I started there grade 1, grade 2, grade 3. I started playing football in grade 4 for the second team. They knew one of the teachers was staying in our street, so he already knew me from street football. So he recommended me to the teachers. At first, the teachers thought I was too small, I was too young to play, because at that time, grade like mazano zvakunzi grade 4 and 5 munotamba that time it was just second team, first team according to your ability. Whether you are a big boy or not, a big boy could actually play in the second team. So they just said, try him. They were skeptical at first because I was young, but once they saw me playing, it was a different story altogether. So I started playing for the second team in grade 4.
But I'm also curious, for a player, at what stage do you start realizing maybe I'm a bit more special than the rest of the kids my age group? Maybe I play a little bit better because I'm trying to figure out that maybe you're young, mutamba borairi, either in the street, at school. But when did you start realizing maybe I'm different?
I think I started knowing that right there in the street, because pakusarudzana pepe nambotaura pakusarudzana pepe ndinetanga kupigwa atotanga kutosarudzana ndoziva kuti izvo always anofanira kuuya kutimu kwangu. So at that time unotanga kutofila kuti izvo, what, I think I'm good enough. Then I started seeing the appreciation. Samana madhara vafanika kana tichitamba weekend vanenge vasina kuenda kubasa vanogara vaitora macheya avo kugara panze payadi pavo vachiona vanhu tichitamba. You could actually see the appreciation of madhara emaraini chaiwo kuti these guys, because that I earned my first nickname when I was like grade 1 grade 2 ndainzi Joshaya. And wow. This guy I got mota anga mechanic. That one was not going to work. I got mota pamba. Saka I sometimes ganata kutamba bora but paitombomira ake achiona bora. So he started calling me Joshua. At that time ndanda kutoona kuti I can actually play. By the time I started playing primary school, I already had the vision that I can play. Plus, I got no interest in bora because my brothers, I had 4 bigger brothers. So 2 of my eldest brothers, they used to take me when they were going to watch football at Rufaro Stadium. They used to take me to the stadium as well. So Naganda Tony that appreciated. My second eldest brother was also playing football at school at that time. So Naito follow Achitamba Bora. I Zapa Fumo Primary in the Zengeza 7, but I used to go and watch more Fumo Primary school games than Zengeza 7 because of him. So that appreciation I already started seeing it, that what, but I can play. Then by the time I started playing, when I really realized that what, I'm actually a good player, when I started playing for the second team at school, because that year I was actually crowned the soccer star of the year for that school, for that age group. I was actually getting my parents' day to pure prize and soccer star of the year for the second team. Alois Bunjira. It was like awesome.
And I think the show is in touch with the legend. I think when you are a young boy and you've got a nickname of the player who's regarded as the best player in Zimbabwe, the late George Chai, it says there's something special about you. So you were playing in school, you were playing Muma streets. When did you start getting into like a professional academy, if you did?
Yeah, you see, like Black Wolves was just social, but when I started now playing for the primary school, there was this elderly guy. He used to work for Chitungiza Town Council, Edmond Nube. That guy, may his soul rest in peace. I think he's the first person to actually coach me, to teach me how to play football, tactically, what I must do. So he had a team, his own team. But then he joined hands with a team called Hot Spurs for the juniors. So he was coaching the juniors, the under 12s, Hot Spurs. So he recruited me. That was the first time that I started playing, organized football with Stuart Murisa, because he also came to join that team. Yes, we used to play against each other in the streets because he used to play for Dura. He played for Oi, but at that time we were not playing for organized football. Then he came to join that team, Hot Space under 12. That's when I started playing, because it was playing in the area zone, in the Zengeza area zone junior league. That's when we started playing together as Hot Space under 12.
And it's nice that you talk about that combination with Stuart Murisa, because I guess with your story, it's very synonymous with him, and we'll talk as we go with the journey. Because when you think Alois Bunjira, you think Stuart Murisa. When you think Stuart, you think Alois Bunjira.
Yes. You see, people only saw us, like you said, we're going to be talking about it later on. They saw us playing for Caps United at that particular time. But that combination started way, way back. We started as rivals. Like I said, there was a time he was playing for Dura. I was playing for Dovi Street. So we had that rivalry at first when we were still young, like primary school. Wetu team ya Stuart kana chitamba ni team yangu nini kana Stuart asipo. That's how we became friends actually. Kana Stuart asipo ini ndera mzikotamba. kwenza ndihanza unaona upindirana naye kana ndisipo team yangu yairamba kuti Stuart atambe because I anaona uwirana naye because we were like outstanding for our teams at that particular time. So we ended up saying that kana Stuart asipo ndetotsvaka kuti ari kupi, because if he's not there I was not going to play. So I wanted to play, so I would make sure that kana chidota mane team ya Stuart, I would make sure Stuart is there. So I had to go to his house to look for him. Where are you? Then when he comes, then we play. So when we started playing together at What Space, we just clicked. We were already friends at that time. So we clicked. That combination has been like that since under 12.
And what was life like at Odd Spares? Was it 100% thinking, breathing, football? Because that's the idea you have, especially when you hear stories about people like Lionel Messi who at a young age had to move from a different country to another to join an academy. What was it like for you guys at Spurs, at Odd Spares?
It was so much fun, to be honest, because this Mdara Ngube, he actually went around the township. He was actually picking the best players in the township. It was kind of unfair though, because we were in the area zone, but we were just beating everybody because we had a lot of good players. Like I told you, we had Wellington Shangiwa, we had Chengaose, Mapute, we had players like Mordecai, we had players like Innocent Tas, like I said, with Robert Somuya. But the best of the lot was for me was Godwin Stone. We had one of our best friends, may he so rest in peace. He passed on. You could have played international football. I promise you, that guy was good. Everybody knew that we were going somewhere, but he had a bigger body. He was bigger than we could actually tell. You could have excelled, but unfortunately for an injury when we were now playing, we'll talk about later. But he was part of that team as well. So that under 12 Hot Space team was just awesome. If you had watched, if there were video games, if there were videos, or if there was social media at that time, you would understand that this was actually a very good side at under 12.
But I'm also curious, what sort of a youngster were you? Because the Budi that I know, the grown-up Budi is very self-assured, mnenaro. You know your space. You love to say your view and you stand by it. What sort of a youngster were you at that time?
I think when it comes to Naro, I think I have always been like that. I've always been assertive. Even in the teams when I was playing in the team, I was very vocal. I wouldn't shy away from discussing football with a teammate. But what I liked about myself, sorry for saying that, but I wanted the ball. I always wanted it. Ukasandipa bora ndikavhurira 2-3 times. If you don't give me the ball, then we were going to have a problem.
So you were temperamental.
Yeah, kind of. Yes, I'm not like that. Like that anymore. But I was like that. Why aren't you giving me the ball? I really wanted, but I think it worked to my advantage because I looked for it. I always wanted it. But off the field, I think I was the calmest guy ever.
So you're in primary school, you're in an academy. I think a lot of times you have players that do well, let's say in certain sports in primary school, and then you move to a school maybe where the sport is not as highly regarded or given as much attention. You moved from primary school to secondary school. Which school did you go to, and was football important at that school?
You see, Yvonne, during the time when we were growing up, football was like a culture. It was culture. So there was no school that didn't take football seriously. So from primary school, when you are playing in primary school, you're playing for Hot Space already outside. So we were playing football at school. We were playing football for the Hot Space Academy. So already people knew us kudara. Saka patunenge tava grade 7 ma schools anenge akutorwira. Vanenge vachitorwira kuti vanenge vachitotora matichers anenge achiziva, because usually matichers anenge vari munharaunda futi imomo, they will be local. So they vanenge vachitoziva kuti form 1 to under 4, because pambene tournament ye form 1, I think under 14 at that party yanga ina a very good sponsor at that time. I sponsored Coca-Cola, I remember. So what I told under 14 was prestigious for schools, because it was a little bit cash to marry Michana for the school. So I told Ruira. So I went straight to Sengeza High 1. Because that was the most prestigious school in the hood. So everybody wanted to go to Sengeza 1 High. So because the advantage of being a footballer, nzvimbo toripo hautomboswera never mind the academics, nzvimbo inenge toripo kudhara yekuti utopinda, saka ndakatomirwa kudhara. So I went to Zengeza I1. Lucky enough, one of the teachers, the coaches who was coaching at Zengeza I1 was from our Aigara Maraid Mana Stuart Kuseri. Saka anotogona bora. He used to play for Hot Space Seniors when I was playing for Hot Space under 12. So they knew kudhara, saka ndiye aitoti coach when he went, because he was like a student teacher. Then he got on, he was a very young man, but he started coaching because there is a board. So he was my coach there. So the culture of football, he grabbed me and put me in the under 14 form 2 and I got to Tamba first team.
So we're going to hear more about his journey at Zengeza High One. It is In Touch with Football, brought to you by Nyaradzo Group.
Nyaradzo Life Assurance Company, through one of its products, the Scorepec Plan, supports Highlanders Football Club, one of the biggest soccer teams in the country, and other local football clubs. With the Scorepec Plan, not only will you score for you and your family, but for your favorite local PSL soccer team as well. For each premium payment you make, your nominated soccer club will get paid from the Nyaradzo Life Assurance's Scorepec Plan.
Make sure you get a Scorepec. Support Highlanders, Ipos or Ipos.
When you get Scorepec, you're supporting Highlanders as a family and your own family. Every time you subscribe to Scorepec, you're supporting your family and Highlanders family. Get Scorepec today.
Always support Highlanders Football Club. Ipos or Ipos.
Supporting your team has never been this rewarding. Get a Scorepec policy and support your favorite football team today.
As Nyaradzo, we strive to continuously bring convenience to our clients. Nyaradzo Group is proud to introduce Sawi, a new virtual chatbot assistant on WhatsApp. With Sawi, you are now able to interact with us from the comfort of your home and can be assisted anytime via WhatsApp. With life assurance products, diaspora products, applying and assessing your policy, payment platforms, claims information, and any other queries concerning payments, policy information, or products and services. Simply WhatsApp Sawi on +263 712 992892 or visit the link showing on the screen to register and start interacting and receiving notifications from Sawi on WhatsApp. Now, join in and experience a new level of convenience 24 hours a day with Sawi.
Welcome back to In Touch with a Legend with myself, Yvonne Mangunda, standing in for my guest today, who is Alois Bunjira. And before the break, he was talking about his journey from the time he was at Honde Valley to primary school, joining Hotspur Academy. And now we're at that stage where you were talking about high school. You at Zengeza Marwirwa, you found the school, the best school in the area. Now you're playing football. What was it like? Did you have frequent games? You're talking about the under 14 that had a tournament, but how frequent were the games, or was it the same as now where you've got some schools who think maybe football is a third term sport?
No, we had a football culture then in the wood. Kwangwine, I think there were about 5 secondary schools that were in our zone. So we would play against each school, home and away, home and away. It was like a proper football league where you actually go to Zengeza I1, I2 and play them. Then you go and play Zengeza 3, I comes home. Then you play Zengeza 4 high. Then there was also St. Mary's. So all these schools were in our zone. You would play against each school twice. So for 5 schools, that means we would play 8 games. Then the top team goes to the district level. So it was highly competitive. So we in our under 14 we topped the group. And we went on to play Second 3. Second 3 was our pocket team. The beauty of it is like Chitungwiza used to produce 2 teams to go to Churchill for the finals, for the Harare finals. So the moment you qualify for your zone and the second one, you would play in the final to find the winner, but both of you still go to the finals. So we played against Second 3. Second 3 was our rivals. That was where Gift Mzadzi was at Momtsaka and Zakaria Mzadzi. It was a very strong team, Second 3. But they beat us. They beat us 1-0, but we went through together to the finals. And guess what? We actually met again in the final in the Harare zone as well. The Chitungwiza talent at that particular time, young talent, it was abundant.
And when you go back now, do you see those structures there? Do you think there are structures that can be able to produce players like you're saying? Because already you're talking about high school level, but you're already talking about names like Vana Gift Mzadzi, yourself. Other structures now, when you go back there to Chitungwiza?
No, there isn't at all. We have been crying about it that, it's Zengeza 7 primary school. It's just next door. I go there during the soccer season. I don't see any football being played. But they will tell you that we've got a tournament in 2 weeks' time. They now going for one tournament. They play a tournament and the season is over. Whereas when I was still in primary school, we had 11 primary schools in our zone. Would play against each school. It just reminds me of one particular game. We actually had derbies in primary school. We had a derby. Zengeza 7 versus Tangenham was outstanding. I once posted, I think a few weeks ago, I posted it on my Facebook. Oh, guys, do you remember who stayed in Chitungwiza? Do you remember this derby match? It had to be played at the neutral venue. This derby, we had to go to Mberi Primary School because it was the last game. We had played all 9 games. They had won 9. We had won 8 and drawn 1, and we were playing the last game. We were 2 points behind them, playing in the last game. So they said that this game needs to go to the neutral venue. So that's how serious. At that level, that's how serious even the headmasters were about football. So we played at Mberi Primary School, and the good thing is we were too strong for them on that particular day. I combined very well with Robert Zomuya. Like I said, I started knowing this boy a long time ago. We played together in the primary school. So those are the things that were the structures were. Same thing with the high school. Same structures. The primary schools and the secondary schools were following the same structures. It's only the difference is that the primary schools were more than the second. We played fewer games at high school than at the primary school.
But do you think that's also affecting the passion that young people have for the local game? Because you find in Zimbabwe, sometimes you find younger people even bragging about their love for European football and, looking down upon as a local sport. Is it because even from the young age, there's not that, passion that's been driven through the games that are there? We're talking about even as youngsters, the way we're playing all these games in the streets, they're not playing those games. They get to schools, there are not a lot of games. And then you expect them at Premier League level maybe to be passionate about it.
Yeah, I blame a lot of things. It's different, Yvonne, to be honest. In the ghetto, you move around the ghetto, you don't see a lot of DSTV dishes in the houses. They don't even have the DSTV. So which football are they watching? You see, when we were playing in primary school, at Wordspace, like I told you, Wordspace had a senior team that was already playing in Division 3. There was also Division 3. Those are some of the structures that we don't see now. There was Division 3, and Division 3 was popular. Division 3. So what we used to do is we play in the morning as my juniors, my curtain raisers. Then we would wait. Local celebrities at Wordspace. Then we would go and watch. Daybreak, KTS versus Wordspace. It was a derby. KTS so it was that passionate where we would watch. So now tichiona bora iroro kwangwine madhara vaiuya nema radio avo kuti vachiteera because the hotspurs yaitamba na3 versus KTS, but at the same time pane madhara neka radio ari kuteerera Charles Mabika naEvans Mambara kurufaro stadium richitambwa. So most people didn't really go to watch. We knew football through the radio, through the newspaper. So radio was the best medium for us to know football. So we were passionate about our football because of radio. So we would listen. You know, if you kwanisa bora ngeEvans Mambara banapa taitova imitator tiri kuprimary school tichitoti zvatinge tanzwa paweekend tichotoita hazvisisiko. So ezvinezvi takuti EPL, but to be honest tisu tiri kutadza because vana vari kuzengeza ezvinezvi havatorina mafacilities acho ekuona EPL. Vari kuona vatoita zvekutonzwawo because havabvumirwi kuenda kumabhawa nemaDStv, saka vari kuona bhora ripi, saka kuna havatorina chavari kuita vana vemazuva ano, havasi kupiwa what they're supposed to be getting.
But you really take me back because you talk about that. Despite the fact that I didn't stay in Chitungwiza, I stayed in Highfield. Yeah. I also have childhood memories where
it's almost the same. Yeah.
My mom was a Caps United supporter, and where we stayed, they were only Dynamo supporters. So on a Sunday when there was a derby, we would dress up. Yeah. Not to go to the stadium, but to sit together and listen to the game. Yes. And nowadays, that is not there. That is not there. And then let's talk about your journey now from Hotspurs and Geza. What was the next move?
Yeah, it was dramatic. To be honest, it was dramatic. There was another guy in the Kaspa Mukara. You know, he used to coach KTS. So Pagaisa KTS Pega broker. KTS was a very popular club in Zengeza, you know, in our hood. So he moved. He was staying in Sege Chibuku Stadium. So Paga formed a Bona League. When Bona League was formed, I think it was 1987. When they formed the Bona League, the National Bona League, Bona League. So they recruited a few teams from Chitungwiza. So Chitungwiza Youth Stars was formed in Chitungwiza. But Younger Best Kwasega was from Zengeza. But because this guy was working in Zengeza, at the Zengeza area board, he knew the good players that were in Zengeza. So basically, we were playing in the area zone, but now Chitungwiza was now going into the Harare League. So the area zone league was kind of like inferior to the team. So everybody wanted to play in the Bona League. So this guy now, he came to poach us from Hotspurs, and he took us for trials. It was actually trials. They held trials at Chibuku Stadium. So he came and people could come for trials. So I remember it was me, Stuart, Robert Somuya, Innocent Mtasa, Wellington Shangiwa, Ephraim Kanyai, Motikai, Tese Takango. And that day we actually had a game in the area zone. We didn't pitch. You know? Yes. So we went for trials. Kuchibuku Stadium. Then that Edmond Ngube, he had to book team. Abana team boys He came to Chibuku Stadium and he started calling us. What are you doing there? But it was drama. So, but we were youngsters, you know, we didn't have contracts. There were no contracts back then, and we told him that we wanted. You know, the funny thing is, Stuart and Robert Zomuya, they were not picked for the trials. You know, trials are cruel. No, honestly, you know, he didn't. They picked myself, Ephraim Kanyai, Moto, and Shangiwa and Innocent Mtas. So we were the ones that qualified for that team. So now for Stuart, now they also wanted to play in the Bona League. So there was another team in Zengeza that was playing in Bona League, Marisa United. So the ones that were not picked by Chitungwiza Stars, now they joined Marisa. That's how Stuart. That's how we separated briefly, though. We separated. I went to Chitungwiza Stars. He went to Marisa.
And then the Bona League starts. What happens with that league?
Yeah, we played in that league. I was playing with players like Wellington Changiwa, like I said, Austin Joye, Masebo. That guy, I don't know what happened to him. He was supposed to be a world class player. Austin Masebo, everybody knows him. He was very popular as a youngster. He played for that. Edmond Saka was also my teammate at Chitungwiza Youth Stars. But the best player there was Frost Zangare. I think a lot of people know him. He was outstanding, very good player with a strong team. We also had Butler Masango, the late, may he so rest in peace. Very good player. He scored off one of the best goals I've ever seen in my life. He was playing for that team in Chitungwiza, and we had our own rivalry there. There was also a team that was in Sege, Red Arrows. We had a serious rival. That's why I talk passionately about development structures at that time. At under 14 level, we had this Chitungwiza derby. Red Arrows versus Chitungwiza Youth Stars. You know, Red Arrows had Alois Bunjira, Norman Mapeza, Jonah Chigwinya, Luke Petros. it was stronger than us on paper. When you look at the names that later on played in the Premier League, I think almost half the team, Gilbert Kasukuere and them, they were playing for Red Arrows. Almost half the team went on to play in the Super League, at that time. So we were like grilled as youngsters by that time. But then I played only one season at Stungwiza Youth Stars. Then I was poached again. Again, I was poached again, by Black Rhinos. Love Mochukuna was staying in Zengeza. He's a Black Rhinos legend. So he came in like, young man, let's go there, yeah, I want to get us $10. Ku Black Rhino, so it was more about money and that bus as well, talking about bus.
But are they loopholes though? Because as I listen to your story, there are loopholes in junior football.
A lot of loopholes that
where
kids
are not tied to a certain team. So you will find the people that benefit when you get bigger transfers are not the people that actually nurtured and identified the talent.
Exactly, Vaughn. You touched a very strong point. Something that I'm passionate about that needs to be sorted out. It needs to be plugged because a team like Black Wolves, a team like Hotspurs, they started this journey with me. A team like Stungwiza Youth Stars, they started the journey. The funny thing, even Black Rhinos here, on Poacher Food, they didn't get nothing out of me. They didn't get anything. They didn't benefit from that. So I played for Black Rhino for 2 years. I played for the under 14s. Then I was promoted to the under 16s. And I played for 2 seasons. Type your maten. Taketa mnyama manji. Taketa mnyama to be honest. Taketa mnyama manji. First season, yes. That was my first football side wage. Call it a wage. Type your per week. Type your per week. Did you go Shiga? Type your $10. It's a SIM dollar, not US dollar, by the way. Type your $10 a week. I want a bus. Because Black Rhinos are getting power on commando barracks. So there was no way. It's only St. Martin's and Sunningdale, the suburb that were close, maybe near Hatfield to some extent. But the rest of the players were coming from Bare, Mfakose, Glenora, Stungwiza. So they used to give us, like, for bus fare, $10. So when I got there, it was for a few months, then they changed. So after 2 weeks. So my mistake. Yes, yakwana but manje tanda tricks manje pane dzimwe tricks dzataita kwangochita mabhazi aya HOC ama United Bus Company. So andivaipa ma tickets ukapinda wainotenga kuna ticket agent wopinda mubhazi driver woti cheka nditi but waiti ukasakwirira pa main bus stop waitenga ticket kuna driver saka driver ndiye akupa ticket saka pakuburuka ngati singachekwe tanzingatichekese the ticket. So they balance. I balance. So I make sure to get bus. Masiri by main bus stop. When you are ticket, so I will charge office by also. Tell some drove. Tell grown. My Puma. If the bus is busy with the first team, to know see what charge office then to know. So I tell that same ticket. Or good in Dora. To get a matic. I'm going to must check. So it was actually quite fun and we were that was naughty, but it worked for us. But it was the disadvantage as when you started getting in over 2 weeks. And guess what? After the year, when we went to the under 16s, it was stopped completely. Some people from the other teams now, because Black Rhinos had the best players in Harare. But players are wonder that the statement about Black Rhinos, they wanga kwine that umbiriza ma players, contracting them and everything. That institution could have could have named them Ana Vitalis Takawira, we found Ana Vita, Ana Silva Chigwenje, Dobedina, Nesbet Saruchera, Ian Goroa. All those players, they were there at Black Rhinos. The who is who of Harare footballers at that time, they passed by Black Rhinos. So the people started moving away when Pakastop were married because my teams are now complain out Rhinos because the juniors are pure married. Junior league in my office is passive and over go ultimate I'm good for pure married. So what do we do?
But wasn't it then a struggle for you because you're coming from Stungwiza?
Yes.
How did you maneuver that?
Exactly. You see, that's what propelled me, or that's what made me leave Black Rhinos, unfortunately. So we played against Padana under 16. I think it was in my third year at Black Rhinos. When now Black Rhinos season, third season, my third year. I think it was in game number 4. Then we played against Darren T and former my juniors at that time, man. Anga was context house at that time. My juniors are con. So they were based in back to Zengeza kwanangandiri. So the boys vandaitamba navo kuchitungwisa Youth Stars neve Red Arrows vaya those teams zanga zaita defunct because dzaingosponzwa neboys dzemcommunity vacombina those two teams ndobva vanoitwa context yayo zvekuchitungwisa. Ameno zvanhu zvaita context yayo was based in Mbare at that time, but pakaitika maproblems factory kuMbare, then it was moved to the factory yekuchitungwisa. So ndobva vatora maplayers aya. Saka inini manje I was the one outside when the rest of my close mates were now playing for Darren T. So now when we played the fourth game at one commando against Darren T, you know, we played that, we drew 2-2. I remember that game. Then Never Gombera came to me and said, Yompan, you're kutambira team yekutown, team yekutown. And you're kutambira team yekutown, you boys tungiza. Chirudzi ichocho. Ndirakuona kuti mkwangu. Ndikati hamdara nchawa sakata anyone but after the game ipapo. You know, saka nanome na kidwe ona vangu ripo vachita why we have to tambira team yomara. Saka is something that was just ringing in my head. But now what drove the point home was when we got home the following Monday, Never Gombera actually came home, you know, to my parents. He spoke to my parents. So can say, I don't need to know nine years. I can go into town to go, you know. It's not a matter. I don't need to go. I got to be one got to tell me about dealing with my father from today.
You're watching In Touch with the Legend. Today we're talking to Alois Bunjira about his journey. So you get to Darren T because I mean, a lot of people, when you talk about Alois Bunjira's journey, it's a good thing that you lightened us about your time at Black Rhinos and the previous teams. Because I think a lot of people start the journey, Darren T, How was it at Darren T? What was the transition like from Black Rhinos and here? Because even you're talking about names like Norman, I'm assuming that's
Norman Mapesa, yes. Yeah, when I now joined Darren T, I met familiar faces. It was the boys that we used to play against each other at school, and we played against Red Arrows, like I said, remember that time as well. So they had formed now the core of Darren T under 16, so I just slotted in. So I started playing with people that I knew. Players going easy, my tanda went netsoka training, but it was not Unity M ground. You would cry, you know. Every time I go to Unit M and look, there's no sign that there was ever a football pitch where we used to train. You know, I trained there for almost 3 years of my life. We used to go there every day. You know, there was those tracks we used to go every day for training. Tuesday to Friday we would go and train. At that time and it was more, I think it was like 8 kilometers or 8 to 10 kilometers. But we used to walk because now it was myself, it was Innocent as well. We used to walk. Takatanga Stuart join the following year and Godwin as well. So we used to walk to that ground and train. And like I said, we had players like Norman, Lloyd Chitembwe, Kidwo Miripiri, Gift Mzazi was our goalkeeper, Douglas Pigirai. Gift Mzazi was not the first choice goalkeeper when I arrived. There was a goalkeeper called Douglas Pigirai. Gift Mzazi was actually a second choice. I'll tell you more about that later on. So those were very good players. I think almost 90% of the players that played, they went on to play top flight football in Zimbabwe, and I'm happy to actually say I think 4 of us from that team we actually went on to play for the national team as well. You know, but ukaona ground red trainer tanga pari pagwenga.
But were you tied down by then? Did you have a contract by then?
Not even.
So you're still going, not contracted, being
imagine, it's under 16 already, I'm not contracted. I could walk. Remember, I walked out of Rhinos after 4 games in that season. I walked and went. No one could stop me. There was no contract, which is something that needs to be sorted out in Zimbabwean football. It's still the same, even to this day. So I played, we actually won the league.
Is that the reason why you then find when a player is then signs up for a big team where there's big money mentioned, people start coming in,
but hapana documentation. That's the problem. There's no documentation. There's no proof that it was, unless maybe one of my pictures. I don't know if that works as well. But Panibasina that kind of documentation. So we won the league. You know, the under 16 league, and then it's like I said, Bona League was Harare zone and Blawa zone. So we won in Harare, then we had to go to play in the final against the Bulawayo winner. So we played against Highlanders. You know, it was a tough time to think about it. Highlanders had a lot of good players, Metembe, Peter Ndlovu, Benjamin Konjera, Gift Lunga. You know, started. You know, we knew each other already because of this Machibuku Trophy, Makaso Cup, and Zumbo Sangan. So we knew who were the good players in Bulawayo. So we went to play against Highlanders. Lucky enough for us, Peter was involved in the Zifa Cup in Harare, so he was taken by the first team. Peter started playing for Highlanders first team when he was also still playing junior football at Highlanders. So they took him to Harare, so we played without him. We were the only under 14. It was Marisa that went to representing Harare. Under 18, it was Capes United that was representing. We were representing Harare as Darren T. We were the only Harare team that won. The rest were beaten. I think Marisa got beaten by Eagles. Eagles Yangainana, Robson Michichwa at that time. It was a very good team. You know, then Capes United also lost to Highlanders. One of the best players that I've seen in junior football. I don't know why he didn't excel as well. And so they beat them. We were the only one that won 2-0. Baba Fields, my very first medal in Zimbabwean football.
Your very first medal.
I'm proud of that medal.
Came with Darren T. So looking at Darren T and looking at the names that you're saying, was it having big names in the team make you a united team, or is there competition within? Because we hear stories in football. Obviously, this is still a lower level, but even in the league, we hear situations where players don't even share shooters or kit or whatever because there are these perceptions of things that will be happening because people are fighting for the jersey. Had it started at that moment or at that level, you're still just saying as long as we're winning as a team, Juribo, it doesn't matter who plays.
No, I don't think there was any rivalry at all. You know, the rivalry that was there was I remember very well. I know one rivalry, Yaitika, but the good thing is I think he also didn't come to play for us because of that rivalry. I don't know where he went to play. I think he went to Fire Batteries, Frost Zangari. Frost Zangari and Norman Mapesa had their own rivalry. Why Garvesam Unity A? You know, Salabate Tamba Chitungiza versus Red Arrows, Pambatorne Graduate. Norman Mapesa refused to join. He was approached first by Oscar Mkara to come and play for us at Chitungiza Youth Stars. I heard that he refused to come and play because when a rivalry yavana Frost. You know, but akazouya in the last year vakazotamba vese vakazowina league as well. But vangoine ka rivalry ka ndo ka rivalry kanda ingoziva kangariko. But when they went to Darren T, Frost didn't go. He went to Fire Batteries, so Frost didn't go. But the rest of us, we had this closeness that was outstanding. We knew each other, you know, we appreciated. I think Neva Gombera was very good in uniting the players, and he also used to know the star players. You know, as long as the star players are playing, there's no problem. One star player, you know, so he made sure that all the star players they were playing. I had my right wing position. Norman and Lloyd were playing in midfield. Joseph Kavai defensive, and Gift himself later took over from Douglas Pigraya. Like I said in the final, Douglas Pigraya gumurwa. Kwa ngene izo ichi gumura kazi. Mfana ubaba fields akagumurwa. Then Gift himself advance pinda. Then he was outstanding. He was the first choice from that game onwards. So I didn't see any rival. Even if you see to this day, we get along. That Darren team, we still get along even in our private lives. We still get along as friends to this day.
I think as you're seeing the story progressing, we're now getting to hear bigger and bigger names in Zimbabwean football, and we want to get deeper into the story. Alois Bunjira, the guest for In Touch with the Legend. See you after the break.
Losing the person I loved the most was one of the hardest things I've ever had to face.
And because I was away from home, it made it much more difficult.
That is when I saw how important it is to have a friend.
A friend to ease the burden.
A friend to take care of things when you can't.
A friend to help you get home.
In Touch with a Legend with me, Yvonne Mangunda, and our guest today is Alois Bunjira, taking us through his journey. We've heard about his journey as a young star in Chitungwiza up until the stage where he joined Darren T. So we talk about Darren T, and we were talking about you being in the junior team. When was the progression for you to then get into the senior team? Because I'm trying to figure out how difficult it was with the names that you were saying were at Darren T.
Yeah, it was, when we were playing in the under-16s, we at that time, you would know that I'm a good player, but the dream was not yet there. We're just still enjoying, we're still youngsters, still enjoying to play in the junior development structures at the club, because we were well looked after, to be honest. Context tells they did a great job, and we used to be kitted very well. We used to get a bus. Our transport was very good. No, there was no money. That declaration, the players at your mind. So tato comfortable now. But we just used to get looked after. Kind of games, it was not that expensive. I think the most expensive part of junior football at that time was transport, because we had to play all over Harare. We had to go and play Gunana Chisha, Anje, Rugare, Kambuzuma, Glenora. We used to play, something that is not happening now, because I knew about Greater Harare when I was like under 14, because I was already going Gunana Zimpos, Gunana Faisons, Mfakos, I don't talk to 10, Nanda to Zampakos, Rugare, and little under 14, something that is not happening now. Tanda to Jera traveling, around Harare. So we were looked after because our transport was very good. If I'm managing with sometimes she atiku tato afara mabasa edu chi nechi atiku anga tori mazita tozo nasi kuenda guys unza akuruya
money bags.
No, not really, yeah, but yeah,
the PPP of that time.
Yeah, so it was actually quite good. But then what happened is, when we won that under 16 final against Highlanders, Grabowski was now the coach. Where first team at Darren T. So he said, to win out. In fact, Pataka final, he was very impressed. Sakatakato Tamba final, a team in a kitty first team, Takatopi, kitty first team, Jaja, green and white. That's what we use there. So Pataka winner, I want the whole team to come and train with the first team twice a week. If twice a week, the whole team must come and train with the first team. So we were now taking Rengo from Chitungwiza, because we train with my five after work. So Rengo to Chitungwiza to no train any team. We were training by Hellenic Sports Club at that time, just opposite where he was staying in Central Pace apartment. So do bakatanga gutu and no. What I want now is Vapana and do I say wakutamba kuma reserve side. Reserve side. Saka ndakavatanzi tisutachi. Tisuta reserve side. I think that's when Edobed Dina came also to join, and Stuart also came. But now so they double up because I was young. I was much younger. They tamba under 16. So I Stuart, when they came to join with Godwin and some other friends, I was still under 16. I know when I graduate, I'm going to go reserve side. Lloyd and everybody, but I stayed under 16. So they put additional tamba manje ku reserve side. Tikatamba my game under 16 is my 8-11. My 11 to now one to not my game reserve. I remember sometimes the number 2 games. The number 2 game under 16 to not to reserve. So it was me, Gift Mzadzi, Stuart, and Godwin Stone. We are the 4 of us from the under 16s. They no talk of it to end up to not reserve. So they double. Tisu footy ever under 16. Tino train an first team. Every twice a week. That's when we gained the confidence. We played. Our team was very strong. Under 16, under 18, we were strong because to train an first team. At that particular time, they had to train an attempt to Mwanza, John Piri, Jafet Mparutsa. It was awesome. People that you used to have pin-ups at home, so now you're training with them. And John Piri was to national team, but I'm to trainer now. And Jafet Mparutsa get a soccer standard grade 2. But I was now I was now training with them. It was awesome. But at that time it was fun to just train with the team. But then the issue is opened on first team now. It just happened unexpectedly because
I'm trying to figure out what the quality of the game was like then, because when you talk about the names that you talk about throughout your journey are the names that even up to this day are people that are regarded as the best players in Zimbabwe many decades later. So quality wise, when you compare that quality, because there's always that debate, when you then look at youngsters, like now you've got youngsters like Bill Antonio making their way into the national team. when you look at the lot where you had Ana Kama Billiard Knowledge Msona when they came from the academy, then progressing, how do you compare?
You see, when I look at our time and when Knowledge and them came in and now, yakaenda diminish. For us, it was mass production. The production, the conveyor belt was massive. It was not just us at Darren T. There was City Velos and there was Mutare, and Mutare there's anana Kenneth Suare, ana Ian Matondo, anana what to go. I'm forgetting his name. I'll remember his name. He was very good. He left Takazonsanga after Commander 17, Commander 18. He was very good. Kublawayo, kwanga kwino ma players, anga chiba kublawayo, anana Metembe, anana Gift Lunga, anana Simba Rusike, they were coming, anana Waka, Leonard Chunda, anana Howard Mago, they were coming from Blawayo. Zisco Stew, Bana Kevin Masimbo. The whole candidate was it was patakatanga topina first team Dynamos kwaipinda na Chamu Msano ana Ernest Masango na Hope isusu tichipinda ogo. It was just that nigirigini, that quality, yanga mass production, something, where our knowledge came, it was more like SS Academy. Angosanga zisina kuti zogune Darren T, time ya this kwa Darren T pins my players, Cape United kwangona engo betika uni anashingitwa league alone, wangwa ipinda ona ugo Black Rhinos kuchipinda wana mchineripi masquire ana chipo. It was just everywhere. The conveyor belt kept on pumping from all different clubs because all the Premier League clubs, they had my juniors. Saka my juniors were to kupinda ningi pana Leonard Chunda na Mzondi wa Mtadza wakutotamba ku Zimbabwe Saints kudarinti kuna na Alois na Nomen Mapesa uko kuna saka zaito zikana ugwese utu mfana akatongopinda chete plus newspaper time here rangari very functional. Waito zoti kwapinda kampana kwana ningi utozwa ninga kweza say ningiri back page ri mfana pa Cisco Stew. Yeah, saka taito zisa saka that mass product zaita kuti vapana varamba vachida kuningirina vaida kupinda because unongochiona kuti mwatopinda. I remember when we got promoted, we prompted a lot of youngsters to go fight, to cry, to want to play because they didn't tambatisa kuma under 17, kuma under 20. Kuti ngoti atofana kuti Darren T kwa kutamba ku face. Apa yachi kutamba under 16 ku Dynamos or Cape United. So it also pushed the other coaches to have confidence in their own youngsters varotamba ku team kwao because vanozoti tripa same level ne the other ones vakutotamba ku face too. So it was actually that mass production. I think that was the difference. Pakazoyana knowledge, it was here and there, that was like outstanding talent. Then after that, the conveyor belt slowed down and probably right now it dried out and unotungona exceptional talent here and there, but ours, I think it was mass production.
I think I need you to hold on to that because on the second part, I'm going to ask Alois Bunjira about his ambitions. He's got ambitions to be in ZIFA, and we'll talk about some of the reasons that prompted him to want to make that decision. And I'm guessing as we're making the conversation that junior football development is one of those issues. So Alois, you're there, and Darren T, it's working out. Are there any issues maybe from then, from the whole journey with junior football? Maybe some of the things, because you're only talking about the rosy side. Were there any other things that happened that you feel shouldn't have happened the way that they happened at that time?
That time I don't really think they were like, we were just enjoying playing football. I don't. Well, the only thing that I can actually say that was supposed is the issue Mari. Because our parents were struggling for real, because sometimes you really needed help, from the parents whenever you're going for these games. Like I said, we were walking about 8 kilometers to 8 kilometers back. Sometimes parents ananga story na mara jangariripo basa raitosvika taikwira seke raitoenda raindi makoni taikwira makoni kana tauda kuya kumba taikwira machipisi. So sometimes when we have kana tatombowana mari taikwira machipisi to training. The training was grueling. That time they believed in physical fitness. Saka taitomomanyiswa kunjecha ikoko. So after that, you have to walk again 8 kilometers to come back home. But probably that's what grilled us. That's what made us who we became. That particular, I don't know. But I think it could have been better, if that situation was helped.
From the family that you came from, you said you were 6 kids. Would you classify yourself in ghetto standards? This is not society standards. In ghetto standards, would you say you were coming from a poor family, a middle class, or a well-off ghetto family?
My upbringing was not really good. I came from a very poor family, I should say. I'm not ashamed of that, because most probably we were almost like most of the people in the street. We were almost at the same level. Anyway, we're just going on. When we were up, we were bit of the bamba bani fence. But when we married, you know, we're to the man. I can fence. Bamba no, but it was go fence. But it was what bani, but pay for. It was what bani when man. But we were not privileged to come from a rich background. You know, it was very humble. You know, probably that's what made us work harder. But to be honestly speaking, we never really looked down upon ourselves, because almost everyone was like that. We were not exposed to other things, so we for us it was normal. We not just thought, but the way I grew up was not good. You know, when you start getting exposed to other lifestyle, then you just realize, yeah, but I am a good at getting home. But I got to bo, you know, so yeah. It's not something that I regret, but I know that it was not a good environment financial wise, but good as in happy. We were a happy family, a very close knit family. My brothers loved me to be. I was the last one. You know, they used to, like I say, they used to take me to watch soccer games. They actually helped with the passion that I had for football, because they are the ones that took me to the stadium to watch football.
How many kids do you have now? Because I want to ask you to say, having now grown, your kids are probably more privileged than you were.
Yeah.
Do you see that passion that you had at that level? Let's say with your son, I know he plays football. Do you see that passion, or because you always have a debate where people say the older generation was more passionate because they didn't have money. Now people play only for the money. They're not as passionate as before. Do you believe in that debate?
I think it has got to do with how the parents are growing their children. That is, I think if the parents are passionate about a sport, I think definitely they will. I've got two sons. One of my sons does it. The other son doesn't. He had the talent. But he never really wanted to play soccer. He got into technology. He's into technology, and now he's studying that. You know, he's studying gaming technology. But the younger son, junior, everybody knows about him now. You know, he loves football. You know, he breathes his dreams. He wants to be a superstar. He trains. He loves it. He has got that passion. You know, I didn't have my father never played football. I don't even have an uncle that I know that played football. I think it just came from me. But I think my son, because we watched football together, and I think it developed from there. He loves football. So I think that passion in him probably was cultivated by me being me.
But when you look at Junior, would you think he would walk the distances and go through the phases that you went through?
You know,
because that's where the debate is to say, are the kids as passionate? Will they go an extra mile? Because we were like this and we were more passionate. Because you do find there's that rift within, you know, in Zimbabwean football with the older generation and the younger generation. The older generation, their football was more entertaining and they played for passion, and you guys are not as entertaining, you're not as talented, and you're all driven by money.
What I can say is I think they are unfortunate, you know, as far as the structures are concerned, you know, because they were not grilled. You know, the children of today, they're not grilled enough for football. You know, my son is 18 now, but at that time I was already playing for the national team. You know, so he's still trying to find his feet to play football. Talented, yes, he's awesomely talented. But because he doesn't have the platform that he has, they are very limited here. Because remember, I played for under 16, I was playing for the reserve side at the same time. Now teams don't even have the reserve side. Where are these kids playing? When you turn 18, where are you playing? If you can't play for Cape United first team, where are you playing? There's nowhere. These kids, they don't have the platform. But we were playing week in, week out, playing under 16, playing reserve side. You know, when we were playing at the reserve side, when we were drop my teams, you know, like first team at Dynamos, maybe 2-3 players when we were drop, reserve, or injury, my players are injury. I test for fitness, so we would play against them. So, and I was 16 at that time. You know, I was already playing against top professionals. So this is the platform that they don't have. So it's not a matter of talent, but you need the platform to actually keep on growing, keep on developing. So this is the platform that they don't have. Talent-wise, I don't have I don't have a doubt that he is talented. He will play, but he is not going to play as early as I did. He will definitely play, but not as early as I did because of the platform. Because the platforms are very limited.
I know you're very keen on social media. I'm assuming you also get a lot of inboxes, like I do, of kids that will tell you at 16 and 18, they don't even know. I think I'm great. I'm a great player, but they don't even know how do you get to an academy? How do you know? How can I get a club? And this is the story in Zimbabwe. How do you think this can be rectified? How can we get our youngsters of today to be able to then tell stories like you are, where you can see the progression as you go from being a youngster playing in the streets, in school, in an academy, and even progressing throughout, the different levels of how big the academies are?
Yeah, you see, like I said, that I think the structures need to be revisited. We need to revisit our footballing structures and go back. Remember, I said Oscar Mrewa at under 8, already there was a structure. There was areas on football when I was 8 years old, 7 years old. We need to go back to those basics. What spares under 12? We're already playing in the area zone. Those are the basics. We need that. Those kids need. I get a lot of those. Like you're saying, 16 years old. He's saying I'm great, but where do you play? He's got no club. But at that time, we were playing for Darenti under 16 in a competitive league, a Rara league, where we were going for training every day. So if he is good, I would say, okay, when is your next game? We are playing Mfakoze on Sunday. I'll come and watch you. What do I do with a kid that is in Mavugu who says I'm great? What do I do with him? I said, all right, come to the academy. It's not right. I need to say, oh, you're playing, I'm coming to watch you. Then maybe I've got the privilege or the platform to actually recommend him to Lloyd Chitembo, who I played with. Yes, it's not. That's what happened. That's the privilege. So they will be looking at me and saying, maybe I can be the link, which is quite true. But if I don't know the person, there's no way I'm gonna pick a phone and 18 years old. I'm great. No more to read. We are not late. It doesn't work like that. I need to be very good. It needs to trust me. I need to trust this guy. So the trust has to be. It has to be a link. So I need to first see is he good. Now not that good. Knowing Lloyd. Then that's how I can link. But Bafana have a platform. This boy, they don't have the platform where I can see. I need to see him playing for a reserve side. I need to see him playing for an under 18 side, competitive game, so that I can actually pick. Some of these boys are deprived because some of them are in Premier League. Never under 18 because what put under 18. Then I don't know. No matter Platinum. So platform showcase their talent. Premier League but that's the biggest problem. I feel sorry for this, for the youngsters of today. We blame them. Today, have talent, what gadgets, but probably they're doing it because they don't have anything else.
But is it also a disadvantage because you look at the fact that even within the league, teams are so centered on winning the league. They don't have time for youngsters. So you find even teams that are in Division 1 that want to get promoted, they're looking at, Mazita. I was looking at one of the teams that is now in the Premier League that was in Division 2, and you're looking at some of the people that didn't find contracts in the Premier League are now going to that team. Is it all stemming down from this issue? And Alois has a lot to answer for in part 2 because we'll be talking about your Zifa ambitions. And these questions, keep them. I'll be asking you because if you want to join Zifa, you obviously have solutions to some of the problems that we have. And I'm hoping that in the second part, we'll also be able to progress from the journey from junior football, getting into, Stuart and Alois, how did they end up at Caps United? His first national team call-up, what was it like? How different is it to what's happening today? But Alois, for the first segment, we just wanted to center on your time, in this junior football setups. And what is your uptake in terms of where Zimbabwe is going? Do you see our future being bright in terms of junior development? When you look at even maybe CAF, the decision with club licensing, is it then going to force teams to say, Dynamos has got a junior team, Caps has got a junior team, because as it stands now, I remember when I was young and I used to come and watch you guys play, there were curtain raisers. And now they're not even curtain raisers. I saw you try and bring it back at Caps United, where we used to see youngsters being the ball boys and stuff, and nothing like that has happened now.
Yeah, it's quite unfortunate, because that also gives inspiration to the youngsters. So the whole structure needs to really change. So we need to go back to our olden days of doing things. It was working. When I say olden days, they are still using the same system in Europe. They're still using the same system in America. As change, you cannot invent the wheel. It's still the same. It's also just started to move away from what was working. I don't know why we did that. So I think we need to go back to what used to work, because that's what works. So for me, I think these youngsters, I think we have done a disservice to these youngsters. Probably we have destroyed a few thousand careers, by not giving them the platform to play football.
So going back to your Darren T time, let's talk about what are your highlights, your achievements that you had during that time at Darren T?
Yeah, with Darren T, I think my first highlight was getting promotion. Getting promoted into the first team. Like I said, it was we were unaware that it was going to happen. All of a sudden, the first team players, we were playing, I think, Africa Day Trophy final. The first team, that is, we were reserve side, and the players boycotted. They had won about a week earlier. They were not given their money. They used to get bonuses the following week. They didn't get the money, so they boycotted training going into that final, the Africa Day Trophy final against Dynamos. So Grabowski was away, he was in Europe. So they told him, like sporadically, you are here, this runner, or it's sporadic. So he called him in Poland and said that the first team players are boycotting training. They said, we want our money, they are not training. But you can go up and train. Because this is an Africa Day Trophy, it's not a league game. So that game against Dynamos. Unfortunately, Dynamos came with their whole first team. So we went in, we played. Imagine some of us started over under 16. I don't know under 18 and reserve. Imagine that reserve side, and we went toe to toe. 16 years old against Dynamos. Yes. Toe to toe. They beat us, I think they beat us 2-1 in that game. 1-0, 2-1. I can't really remember that the scoreline. I think it was 1-0. They beat us. And Grabowski was very impressed. That we lost to Dynamos. Dynamos players. Dynamos. I know, I'm sure no man remembers this game very well. He was always talking about it. We were talking about it the other day. So Grabowski, when he came, he said, Dynamos. These Dynamos, because the Grabowski aichika Dynamos state. Saka he was very impressed. Saka ndo first team. My boycott anja just like that. So that's how we got promoted into the Darren T. I think he retained a few players like Usman Misi, John Piri, Javed Mparutsa, I think Forbes Daba, Rafael Kondera, and Manzini. Then the rest they were discarded. Then we started. We just finished the season, and he brought Tebiman Kinka. We finished the season. I was not a regular. Out of the youngsters, I think it was me and Gift Mzadzi who were not regulars. Who were not really regulars. Stuart was playing. Norman was playing. Lloyd was playing as well. Edobet Dina was playing. Those were the regulars. They fused with the youngsters. I was always on the bench at that time. But when it came to I think 92. That's when the season started, 92. I don't know what was breathed into me. I was on fire. To be honest, I started 92 on fire. And I was like straight into the first team, first 11. I started from game 1, 92 season. And I played, and that was my highlight. My highlight from Darren T was the highlight when we beat Cape United 4-0 in the Castle Cup final. That was 1992. At that time, it was like, hallelujah. I was the man of the match. I scored 2 goals against somebody who I used to watch all the time. Brenham Siska scored. I know the 2 goals past him would beat them 4-0. I was man of the match. And for the first time, my name was in the headline in the Sunday Mail newspaper. I remember we played the replay at Rufaro Stadium on a Saturday. So Sunday Mail, it was my headline, Prince Edward Schoolboy destroys Cape United with my picture running out. That
must have been exciting. I can imagine at that age, your picture in the newspaper.
Yeah.
But when you talk about your journey at Darren T, I noticed that Grabowski is a very prominent name in Zimbabwean football in terms of junior football. How did he shape your journey?
Yeah, I think my journey had a lot of people that were very gamizana. You know, it really started with Oscar Mrewa, akanikandira kuna Edmond Ngube akanikandira kuna Kaspa Mkara, then Kaspa Mkara akandiendesa kuna Black Chirova akaita pake akandikandira kuna Neva Gombera. Then I think things now started really shaping up when I went to Darren T with Neva Gombera under 16. You know, he was pushing, and the beauty of it, he was working for Context House, that was actually the sponsor of the first team as well. So the transition was easier. So Neva Gombera pushed, and when I graduated, when we won the under 16 league, Grabowski then said, I want these boys to come and train with us. That's when Grabowski noticed talent. You know, the way I think things started changing from playing football as street football with natural talent. Then Grabowski now came in with modern technology, how to play football, how to hit that ball, technique, how to hit the ball the correct way, the way the football is hit. You know, it was amazing because you could actually see the changes. That, you know, if I ran keep leg, you know, so you hit the ball like you're playing karate, you know, and karate, so I dance the ball, you must hit it like that. So those things, we started playing them, you know, and we didn't know that, you know, it is part of the game to play one-touch football, ball in the air with your teammate, which increases what distance, but you can actually play one touch with a guy that is 20 meters away from you, playing one touch to him, he plays it one touch back to you. You know, we started learning those things, but those are the things that actually matter the most to a footballer, to have that kind of relationship with the ball, whether you are alone or two of you, to have that kind of relationship with the ball. That's what he started teaching us, and it pays off. To this day, the technique doesn't go. You give me a ball today, I will hit that ball the way it's supposed to be hit because it was drilled into us. So that I appreciate from Winslow Grabowski. He started, you know, showing us how the ball is done. So it made it easier for us to play in the first team because we were doing the basic, we were doing the way, we were hitting the ball the way it's supposed to be hit. And you know what I appreciate about him as well is that confidence in playing a 16-year-old and say, I'm playing him, he is playing, let him play. And we played. And I think he had noticed that we were trained with the first team for a long time. So I remember a lot of five-a-side games, you know, with the first team. So I told gumana so good. So I don't go not to pan out no much kilo. You know, I don't appreciate that pan out no much kilo. So I did. So that appreciation, I really do appreciate that he had the confidence. Youngsters at the same time, Bauk, you know, in Bauk, and we went. So I think he played a very big role in my career because from there onwards, it was just upwards.
From Darren T, what was your next move? Cape United?
No, I went to Blackpool.
So in case you want to find out more, like I am Blackpool, Cape United, and the journey went on and on and on and on. We'll hear it on part 2 of In Touch with the Legend with Alois Bunjira. And we heard so much. I learned so much, Alois, in the part 1. And I'm so eager to hear about part 2 because I also personally didn't know you went from, I thought it was Darren T, then Cape United.
No,
so we'll find out about that on the next part. Guest host for In Touch with the Legend, Yvonne Manguna. I'm out. And of course, you know that the host of the show, the usual host, will be back again on part 2, telling us about his story.
In 2001, Zimbabwe's Sawira Mukuru was born. Humble beginnings though they were, and armed with nothing but a vision, Philip Mataranyika, Nyaradzo Group CEO, saw a need in Zimbabwe society. A need that needed a strong hand to fulfill it. a vision to provide the best possible service to its clientele in order to meet the demand for efficient, client-based funeral services in Zimbabwe. Investing in infrastructure, machinery, vehicles, staff training. Armed with the CEO's vision and mission to be the preferred provider of insurance risk and event management solutions. Through listening to and understanding the needs of our stakeholders with due care for the environment, we grew and grew. We crossed the Limpopo into South Africa. Over the Mediterranean and British Tunnel. And we continued to grow. Through the good times and the bad. Whether in the city or in the village, or diaspora. All we had and all we have is each other. 20 years of service.
Thank you.
Thank you.
20 years of gratefulness.
Thank you.
20 years of thanksgiving.
Thank you.
20 years of memories.
Thank you.
20 years of hope.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hope for an even greater future.
Thank you. Thank you.
The Nyaradzo Group of Companies would like to thank all our clients for working side by side with us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
From all of us here at Nyaradzo, the past 20 years wouldn't have been possible without you. Thank you.
Today is a special day for the Nyaradzo Group as we celebrate 20 years since our founding with humility and gratitude. I would like to take this opportunity to thank all stakeholders, our board of directors, management and staff, as well as our customers who have supported us through this journey. It's been an exciting journey, and I'd like to thank you all for all the support and the hard work.